Hey, what's up guys, aarava here, and welcome back finally to another installation of the Veloce Squad Sprint Season number 2 videos. I know it's been a while. I've taken like a 2-week break, I think was the last time we had an episode, and the last time I had a very interesting time where my race lasted approximately about 10 seconds at the Belgium Grand Prix. Today we're going to bring you action from the Bahrain Grand Prix, the one that episode just went out on Veloce's channel. There was the Japanese Grand Prix in between the last episode and this one, but the highlights were rather short. I'll talk you through them right now. So we had the 5 red lights and we're underway. It was an okay start. Obviously turn 1 was always going to be very tricky at Suzuka. Again, I had a PTSD from Belgium because Liam Vizzer actually ghosted on the grid and didn't get away, just like he did in Belgium, but thankfully I actually ghosted right through him, but that gave me a panic attack right from the get-go. But we made it through into P7 now, ahead of Tom at 97 and just behind Raggy, who has a massive issue there and taps off not only him but also Veloce Isaac in the Williams car. So we get up into P5, so actually a very decent start for once here for me in a squad sprint race. Then we get on the back of Ryan LA3 here in the Toro Rosso, very close to him through 130R, and then a really nice move on the outside, nice and aggressive on the brakes into that apex, and get P4. Things were looking on the up, and then we come through in the S section up the hill, near and lose at the back end, and I have nowhere to go, and that's my race over. That's pretty much all my highlights from Japan, so you're not missing too much. That was literally it. After that, it was a pretty abysmal race for me at Suzuka, but yeah, couldn't really do too much about that. I had no time to go to the left of the McLaren, and the only other option was smacking him right in the side pod, which would have caused a DNF for myself. So yeah, it wasn't a great one. But now we come to the Bahrain GP, which is a pretty tasty one, I can tell you. Bahrain was a pretty fun one. I saw in P5, so even further up the grid after my calamity at Japan, and it also invited. I don't know, the circuit just invites some really decent racing. I'm looking forward to now doing the not Bahrain Grand Prix GP tomorrow because of a race like this where it was, you know, there's a lot of fun in there racing, not only the content creators but also the esports guys as well, as you'll see later. So that's why I've decided to kind of merge the two races, because Japan hardly had anything and Bahrain had everything pretty much in terms of highlights to show you guys. And so with that, we're going to cut later on to the end of the formation lap there, the formality of going through to the grid and forming up. Here we go then in P5, like I said, alongside Raggy there, the Mercedes on the right of us, and right behind us is Joe Turner in the Racing Point car. We've got Niran on the front row alongside one Williams, and the other Williams right ahead of us. Here we go then to 5 red lights for the Bahrain GP in Squad Sprint Season number 2 here, and it's a pretty decent start for us. Bit of a slow one for the McLaren. We have a bit of a calamity then with the rear end and almost hit the Haas into the wall there of Veloce Storm. Then Joe ghosts, which was very awkward in the Racing Point car, so I had to kind of drive through him, and as I do that, up ahead the Williams gets tapped round, and so Raggy's slow as he's kind of a little bit cautious then, so we get up into P3. So started off as a bit of a shaky start for me with that kind of rear end twitch, but then ended up really decent through the first 2 turns. Then I watch up ahead, you've got Kaki overtaking, or trying to overtake near and there in the McLaren. Kaki, the F1 game's not his domain game, but he is still a very, very quick sim racing driver on other games, so I expected him to try and get past, but Niran doing some decent defensive work there, and I'm unable to get past Kaki. Is in the Williams car, and then we go through the next left-hander, and then Niran just has an absolute calamity. Kaki as well, also a bit wide, so that's probably one of the easiest overtakes I've made for the lead of a Grand Prix on this game, up into first place. So I am leading a squad sprint race for, I think, for the first time, or a rarity that I'm this far up the order, and it's we're nearly at lap 1, and there's been no calamity that's occurred to me. So far, so good. We've got Raggy behind me in the Mercedes car. Kaki stayed in P3, then I believe Niran, I think, dropped down so far, I think, to about the midfield range there, because he went so off and wide on that left-hander. But now you can see Raggy attacking me as well as Kaki in the Williams. You can see I've actually gone kind of a little bit on purpose slow, try and get a tuck in basically, because the slipstream is so powerful on this game. So I thought I may as well try and re-overtake them basically with the slipstream overtake mode. So here we go now, closing up to Raggy in the Mercedes car. He's in the lead. We are having none of it. I want to be on the inside line, so we force our way through on the inside there, outbrake him and go a little bit wide there to try and scrub off the speed and take him wide on purpose, and back up into first place of the Grand Prix. Behind me then the Williams battles the Mercedes. The Williams back up into second place, and then I was praying that basically everyone behind me could just battle and I could try and build a gap. Basically, that was my plan, and hope that everyone would start fighting. Basically, you had the esports drivers coming through and fighting all the content creators and other pro drivers, so maybe I could try and build a gap that kind of way. Sadly, it didn't last too long as we move on to lap number 3 then, and Kaki actually did a really decent job of sticking with me there, so fair play. He's now going to come and try and overtake me, so I'm going to have to do some defensive driving, and meanwhile, Tierra Limitless in the Alfa Romeo is coming at a rate of knots, so that's the kind of guy to watch out for, of course. JD, very, very rapid, of course, on this game in the Alfa Romeo, and whilst me and Kaki fight, he's basically gaining time to no end there, as you can clearly see behind me there. There comes that lurking Alfa Romeo. I've gone defensive on the inside here against Kaki in the Williams, but we're going to actually outbrake ourselves a little bit there, so he's going to get a really decent switchback move done on us, and meanwhile, Limitless also now tucked up behind us in the mirrors. You can see he's going to close up even more as we go through the next right and then the left, practically pushing the Williams through that apex there because he was so slow mid-corner, and then we make a massive dive on him at the hairpin. He leaves us the room, and that will just slow us down even more. So there is now finally Limitless right in the mirrors there, so it's only a matter of time before he overtakes us. I've gone down to none ERS to try and save ERS for later on these straights here. Then hot lap mode engaged, DRS open, rich mix gone, and then we're going to bump this back down to none to save even more ERS because I thought it would be a slam dunk overtake on the Williams on this straight, so save the ERS for later on in the lap. But as I overtook him, Limitless also trying to get involved a little bit there. I think he's going to waste no time. You're about to see on this next right-hander as we went through the apex. I was looking behind the mirrors and you just see kind of Alpha just pincer move to the inside there, so really nice dive bomb to be fair from JD, and then we're still non-ERS because I thought, you know what, there's no point really fighting Limitless too much. He was always going to overtake me. He's a rapid driver. You know, I've known that for many, many years, having known JD for so long, since 2012 in this community. So I thought there's no point really fighting him too much. I'll use him as a bit of a tow, kind of pull along essentially with the kind of DRS open, or for him, and obviously I get the slipstream off him to help me kind of just stay in the top positions, if you will. Alex Gillen now also joins the party. I get the rear end a little bit slow there on the traction, so a little bit slow out of the corner, but still decent speed there. And I thought Alex was quite far back here, but as I went to the brakes on, I guess he just absolutely sent it and just came out of nowhere to my surprise. Then I lose the back end here, and I'm really sorry. I tapped Gillen, and I think he hits the wall. I think he may have got damage from that. I just got a snap of oversteer that I couldn't control, and that inadvertently tapped our cars together. I didn't expect the collision to be so violent. I don't know if Alex was like, I don't know, rapidly, you know, moving the wheel excessively to kind of counteract that, or maybe on his screen the clout was a little bit bigger than I thought it was. But on my screen, it didn't seem like a massive incident. But I think looking back at his POV on the Veloce video, it probably was. So apologies to Alex there. Didn't mean to do it. Just the rear end stepping out with the tyre wear kicking in. And speaking of tyre wear, eventually in lap number 6, I come in along with JD. So I tried to basically just stick with JD as long as I could. And in doing so, the tyres were going off. So probably not the best idea for me. And then you saw there, a little bit of annoyance. I got speeding in the pit lane. Even though I'm adamant, I must have missed it by like a pixel of slowing down in time for that pit lane entry. So that was really frustrating. So no matter where I am, I'm going to lose 5 seconds. So in a field that's so close together in squad sprint, that's going to be really, really annoying. I'm probably going to lose a few positions. So that was a little frustrating, but at least the racing's been pretty decent, and I haven't had a major calamity in this Grand Prix. I come out just ahead of Simon Weigang in the Renault, and also Ben Tiametmarduk, my teammate in the other Ferrari, of course. So at this stage of the GP, actually, I haven't seen much of halfway through this. I hadn't seen Ben at all, nor really Simon as well. They must have been kind of held up in a bit of traffic here, but now Simon tries to switch back move on me. Going to try and go defensive there and try and cut off the racing line as we remain in P6. I thought I could maybe try and help Ben out, overtake Simon in a way as well. Simon goes round the outside, then switches to the inside as I understeer really quite a fair bit in first gear there. He's on the soft tyres though as well, so I'm not too sure what his strategy's been. I don't know if he's on a new set of softs or whatever. I now send it to the inside. Simon again switchbacks me, so from Simon's POV, it just must have been just me doing kamikaze dives, to be honest there, but just trying to do my best at holding him up maybe, or trying to get in the mix basically there. I'm not too sure what Ben's situation is. He was on hard tyres. Actually, I actually do remember his situation. He's on hard tyres. He didn't want to be on hard tyres. He actually said to his engineers to obviously go on to the mediums or the softs. I can't remember which way, but basically he basically got finessed by his own pit crew. Surprise, surprise, Ferrari strategy bottled it once again. and so he was on the hard tyres and also carrying some damage, I believe, on the front wing. I think at some point when he tapped Simon, or potentially I think later on he gets some damage, so it was going to be a very big struggle for Ben to get through this Grand Prix, but you'll see in the end he actually does a very, very decent job on the hard tyres and with a bit of damage. But right now, just trying to do my best at, well, I don't know what I was doing there. I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to send it. He's an esports driver. Let me just kamikaze dive again and hope for the best. Didn't work out, obviously, so in the end, we're down to P7. Probably the best I can hope for maybe in this Grand Prix now. But behind me, Storm and Ben doing battle. Now Storm comes to overtake me as he tries to go around the outside. What I didn't know at the time was Storm also had some damage himself on the front wing. So he comes through here on the inside, and then he just understeers into me and just hits me off there. And then I forgot there was a gravel trap there. So yeah, that was a bit of a half spin. I thought I could just go across and just come back on track side by side with Storm. Completely forgot there was a gravel trap there, so that half spun me. So we're down to P9, but Ben and Storm have an absolute ding-dong battle. They're side by side at the moment into the S section there, so that's going to hold them up to no end. Both with damage, I believe, on their front wings there. So basically battling over, limping home to the end of this GP. So we close up very, very quickly there to the point where I send a little love tap to Storm. Not for the first time you're about to see, but one first love tap just to let him know that I'm there with a not broken front wing. And then again into the next. I don't know what it was. Every time I got to an apex, Storm was just going so slow compared to what I thought he would be on the exit there. And so he closed back up. DRS open. I need to try and get past him. And also, to be fair, I think I can also get past Ben as well because he's got that damage and also on the hard tyres. But it's proving a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be on lap number 10. But 4 laps to go. Not too long in this GP. I absolutely send it to the inside of Storm there. It works out just about, but then on the exit it gets me back. So once again, me, the switchback merchant, I've been switchbacked about 5 times on myself there, so it hasn't worked out. I was getting at this point just maybe a little bit too excited about kind of just making these dive bombs basically, but you know, what's an F1 race without a little bit of fun here and there. So we open the DRS and we're going to close up to Storm once again, and we're going to pick our line where we know he goes defensive on the outside actually here. That'll be the inside, to be fair, for the next corner, but I'm going to squeeze him out so much so that he can't get through on that outside. And now we're on the back of Ben in the other Ferrari, of course. So we move through a little bit later in this race then, lap number 12, 2 laps on, 2 laps to go in this GP, still closing up with Ben, but now Formula Danny has come through on a 2-stop strategy. It's Team Principal versus Pro Driver, the Alfa Romeo Racing esports team there, giving Danny a little bit of a squeeze, but in the end he's always going to come through. He's on fresh softs because he did a 2-stop, like I said, in the 25, so a bit of an unorthodox strategy here, but it meant he was absolutely flying. And so you can see that he tried the right, then goes to the left, then goes back to the right and gets the move done eventually on Ben there. But you can see the kind of sense of urgency about Danny's driving in that moment of time of trying to get past Ben, but then he goes a little bit wide. Ben sends it to the inside, bit of contact made there that slows down Ben, not so much Danny, because he goes off a little bit, accelerates off circuit, and that gives us the chance to move now, go round the outside of Ben through the next left-hander up the hill. He's going to go defensive there. We're going to tuck in tight, switch back, finally done on ourselves on someone else basically there. Really nice, decent move up into P6 now. Of course, though, remember, we've got that 5-second time penalty, so no matter where I am, I will be a few positions back, because you can see there, you know, you've got Ben right behind me, Storm, I believe, also on the Mercs, I think, or Williams car is also right there behind Storm in the Haas, so we'll lose at least 3 positions as Raggy now DNFs out of the Grand Prix for the 2nd time in a row in squad sprint there from Japan to Bahrain. But we come through then the last lap of the GP. It is going to be P6. Danny waltzed away from us on soft tyres there. Ben couldn't keep up, but obviously with the damage, but it didn't matter. We come across the line. It's P6 on the road, but eventually it will be down to P9, I think that is. So in the end, it's a fun race. Annoying to have that 5-second penalty, because apart from that, there would have been a decent result for me, P6. So getting a little bit unlucky in that kind of sense once again, but happy to have a much more entertaining race at Bahrain than we had in the last few basically there. But now I'm going to leave it to Hayden and Cal to take you through the standings and the full run order.
And leading the way currently, it is, of course, Hypers running away with the championship. Or is he? It's very close between the two of them. Daniel Bresnay, 104 points. Only 3 points the gap between the top two. James Baldwin was in that fight very early on after he got that race win in Belgium. But unfortunately, it looks like the last 2 races have slipped away from him. But he did gain massively on Daniel Bresnay today. Jarno Opmeer Haven't seen him race for a while. He currently holds P4. Then we have Benjamin Daly fighting with the esports guys, doing a great job at the moment. 48 points and closing on Jarno Opmir's tally. Tiro Limitless only started 2 races or 3 races, I think, in the season so far. 42 points already. A great showing from him. Simon Vigang on 39 P7. Then we've got Alex Glenn P8. And the 2 Toms rounding out the top 10 as we move into the bottom half of the field now. And it looks like Hayden Gullis has moved out of the top 10, with Karki moving up into that battle. Very close now for the last few positions in the top 10, as Aarav also getting involved in that, getting 2 points here today as well. Joe Wilkes looking very tasty to try and get in there too. Everyone, look at all these drivers just fighting. All these drivers don't really care too much probably about fighting with the main esports guys, with the championship, but they want to get the better of each other. We all know each other very well, and we want to get the better of each other. Now moving on to the Constructors' Championship, and it is, of course, Alfa Romeo leading the way. They have 2 F1 esports drivers in their ranks, so of course they are going to be leading the way, but the Haas doing a great showing. They've got James Baldwin and, of course, Storm. This is not his game, but they are currently in second with Toro Rosso. 1 real driver in that team, Ryan Littlemore. Not really seen much from him, only scoring 1 point so far this season. P3 from Toro Rosso. Renault in P4 with Ferrari in 5th. Then we have Red Bull Racing 6th. Mercedes down in 7th with Racing Point falling down the order in P8 with Williams in P9 and McLaren in P10. And that is going to round us up for the Bahrain Grand Prix.
So yeah, guys, that's been this installation of the Veloce Squad Sprint Season number 2, the Japanese Grand Prix and the Bahrain Grand Prix merged into one episode there. If you guys did enjoy it, then be sure to hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you are new around here, then do subscribe for weekly full-on content. I've been aarava. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the day. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.